Okay, let's get back to it. I actually had a phone call right when I stopped that last segment. Nice and thin. I think this is thinner than most of the other Pedernales looking types from the other video, and I think this is a lot of the original flake scar on this side from the original flake. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I think I said that there's not very many that have the original flake scar. Although this could be just a wide, very good flake, thinning flake. But it looks like this is made on a large flake. The side just looks way too flat to be something made or something flaked from the edge of this artifact, like on this side. But I don't know for sure. But so yeah, it looks like some of these may have been made, at least this one, on a large flake. The thinness kind of gives it away, right? Because large flakes can be extremely thin, and then it makes it easy just to nap around the edges and thin out some thick spots. So yeah, if I said that those are not made on flakes, it's wrong, and it looks like at least that one was made on a flake, that Pedernales type. This is a Montel. You can tell they call that the bucktooth base or bucktooth stem or something like that. Edge is all kind of weird though. It looks like it was broken in manufacture. Because this edge does not look finished at all on either side. Base looks good though. Stem looks good. Okay, here's another one that this is not from the south. This is from up north, Ohio probably. Some of you know what kind of chert that is with the speckles in it. I don't know what those speckles are. Mineral deposits? Yeah, that looks like oxidation. I can scrape that off. Mineral oxidation deposited on the artifact. Although, maybe within the stone itself. I don't know. Anyway, this is not from Texas. And look at the curve in that. The only reason I could see is that this is the pattern. No one's going to use this for something else, so you're pretty safe if this is the pattern. Well, I don't know. I'm just guessing. It should be a nice pendant, right? It doesn't. When it's curved like that, it won't rub the edges on you. This part rubs on you. I suppose it could get flipped around and poke you, but we'll see. I don't know. To me, that's what I would use as a pattern. One of these thick, curved pieces. No one's going to want to use it because it's all weird. I know how that feels like. With kids and stuff, the only thing that survives is stuff that people can't use. It either looks weird or is weird, so you know you're safe. And it's just a tip of a point. I like looking at these just for the edge development, how the edges look like. So that I know if I'm doing it right on my edges. Right in quotes. Because they're not all the same. Not all these artifacts have edges that are exactly the same. You know what I mean? Some of them are quite crude, and some of them are highly refined, and there's everything in between. Yeah, even though these are really ugly, I like them. This is a Gower point, I believe. It takes a lot of skill to make these blades like this, and then they make the stems and ears all wonky and all weird. It's so funny. Yeah. And these have a lot of impact damage. This one does too. I've seen a lot of these, right? My friend Dusty has a huge collection of points, and I've seen this type of point in his collection. And yeah, they were throwing these at stuff like crazy. This type and a bunch of other types. You know, and you start to see a pattern. They were throwing everything, or using them as spear tips, and just going all crazy with these things and stabbing and throwing them at everything. Let's see, what is this called? If it was smaller, it would be called a dead man's, but I forget. I don't know what these are called in full size. But I got to be careful with this one. I don't want to break the tip off. But I like this point a lot. I remember looking at this for hours one day. Yeah, fits just right. No fuss. Fits just right. You don't need much, just glue. There's no notches for, you know, cross banding across the top. You just need glue in there and then wrap the shaft. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. Blade is sharp all the way down. Kind of reminds me of the European styles too. Barbed and tanged. Yeah, silly me, I can't remember the name of this type. I don't want to look through the whole book. Don't have time. Not if I want to get through these. And when I say I looked at that for hours, I don't think I looked at it for that long, but I studied this sucker. I remember studying this one. I'm still fascinated by it. Okay. I don't know why, just some of them. This one might be, let's see, what is this one? It could be a Marcos too, right? Because it has a kind of a refined look to it. I think the angle on the notches is good. Well, it could be one of these. Yeah. Yeah, it probably is a Marcos as well. So, there you go. I have another one. I'm starting to develop a big collection over here. Where's my... Oh yeah, my good Marcos is under my percussion flaker. There it is. Yeah, I mean under my aluminum billet. It's right under this, right where it'll be safe. Yeah. I'm just kidding. All right. Who knows? It's the mad napper. Nap this one. What craziness is this? I don't know. I have no idea. Some of the hardest material I've ever worked is like this. If this is not heat treated, this guy is a glutton for punishment, for sure. But it probably isn't. It probably is not heat treated. There's some serious, I think this is punch work for sure. If I were to be sure of any kind of artifact with punch work on it, it would be this one here. Because you can see there's big flakes taken from inside this notch into this area. I can't do that with anything except punch work. Horizontal punch or vertical punch, that's what that looks like to me. It's some kind of punch work for this particular piece. There's no way to get that with pressure unless you're Hercules. Yeah. Sides are undeveloped, so it looks like it's broken in manufacture. These edges are not fully developed or fully sharpened, so it's not finished. It's just broken in manufacture. Let's see, I saw a bunch of step fractures on this one. Yeah, this guy really didn't care about the step fractures. Didn't care about the blade either. But it looks like it's broken in manufacture. There may have been a way to get rid of those step fractures. I mean, I could get rid of those with putting an antler right in there and hitting, indirect, punching those flatter. It won't get rid of them completely, but it would flatten them out slightly. If you're worried about them. If not, then you just go to town and shoot it at something. Have to shoot it. That's what I mean by go to town. Just go ahead and do it. It's one of those boomer expressions again. And some of you boomers go, I don't use that expression. What are you talking about? All right. This one is a pedernales type, yes. And the blade is, I think, is one of the best ones I have. This edge is super sharp. Very thin. This is one of the best pedernales artifacts I have, and I'm lucky that it's mine. It's not anybody else's. This is one of mine, and I can study it for as long as I want. Nice flaking. Hefty stem. Thin blade. It's almost as if they had an idea in their mind what it should look like, and they didn't care what the stone was telling them. Yeah. I mean, what, you gotta give me that little bit of happiness making fun of anthropologists. At least some of them, anyway. What do you mean? What do they do? What do they not like? It's a long story. The material cultures and mental templates and all this kind of stuff, for some reason, they get bent out of shape with that stuff. All right. We've seen plenty of these. Yeah, worn down to a nub. Yeah, nub point. Who knows what they're using these for? They are so silly. I think they're silly. I would have discarded that a while ago. Or get just I don't know. What would I do with those that are broken? Let me think about that. Broken pieces. What would I personally do with a bunch of broken pieces? Would I go back and refurbish and resharpen like this? Or would I make a new one? Well, I guess it depends on if you have the material available. If you don't have any more chert or flint available, then you're going to have to make do with what you got. Overshot flake. Now this is something I should probably keep out on permanent display. It's got so many things good about it that I should just keep this out to refer to it all the time. One, it has a flake that was removed with so much force at this stage. It's a stage 1 pristine artifact. That amount of force is incredible, right? And then it ended up overshooting with this super cool technology and taking off 30% at that point. It split the stem. It didn't go down to where the notch was. It just totally split the stem. The notch on that stem is incredible too. This notch at the base is incredible too because of its narrowness. Now, can you get narrow notches like this on a piece of material that's not heat treated? Yes, you can. But I don't know if that's pressure or punch work, and I wish I could tell. If we could just know how they did that, save a lot of time. But they were obviously using a lot of force, and this to me looks like it's probably a direct percussion flake, just because of the power involved in it. To do that with indirect percussion, it can be done, and it's easily done with a heat treated piece. But on a raw piece, this would be a direct percussion flake. But at this stage, man, that's gutsy. And of course, there's the result. But the pentagonal shape, I was talking about it in the other video. The pentagonal shape is right here for everyone to see on full display on stage 1 of this type of point. And I bet you the Pedernales, same deal. This pentagonal shape on a stage 1. And it's not finished. This edge is very wavy. So this is a snapshot of this particular stage, unfinished, just prior to being finished. So I'm going to keep this one out. Take my own advice and keep that one out. I got a phone call, so I'm going to continue on the next. I got text. My daughter just texted me. I'll be back.